in at number 10 today, we have Katy Perry. Have you seen all the drama surrounding Katy Perry and American Idol? Well, if you haven't, let me get you caught up. So recently, a 25-year-old mom who was bullied by Katy Perry on American Idol decided to quit the show while on stage in tears. When Sarah Beth Libby first appeared in front of the judges to perform You Know I'm No Good by Amy Winehouse, many viewers criticized Katy Perry and the comments she made during Sarah's audition. Sarah would later open up in a TikTok video in which she described the incident as being hurtful and embarrassing by saying there was a joke that was made that's gotten so much attention, and she then went on to say, "At the start of my audition before I sang, I mentioned that I had 3 children and I was a young mother, and Katy Perry made a joke that wasn't super kind. Now the mom of 3 has decided to call it quits, and it's not for the reason you might assume." In an episode of the singing contest, she sang Roxanne by the Police before suddenly quitting and telling the judges after finishing her song, "The opportunity is really rad, but this is actually going to be my last performance because my heart's at home. So I'm going to get home to my babies, thank you." With Sarah returning to the stage, Katy Perry would then beg the contestants not to leave, but Sarah stood her ground and left the show. And now we're all wondering if Katy Perry might be replaced as a judge on the show. Number 9, Justin Bieber. Well, we all know Justin Bieber is all about his personal space, and in 2017, he would show his fans that they probably shouldn't approach him and ask him for a selfie or an autograph. While Justin was in Australia for a leg of his world tour, he was approached by a female fan looking to take a selfie on the street, but instead, she would be left in tears. During the encounter, which was filmed and shared on the internet, the singer rebuffed her request by telling her, "Look at your respect level, look at you, you make me sick." In one swift move, he then took some bite of his food that he was holding and got into his car. His Melbourne fan then recalled during an interview on Nova 969, "I took the photo anyways because I thought, when am I ever going to have this moment in my life?" Well, Justin went on to receive some major backlash for how he handled the situation. In a brief dispute, the star seemed to go into digital damage control, uploading more photos of himself welcoming his fans, including a throwback photo of him shaking hands with a young girl on the beach. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you never have to miss out on what we might just cover next. Coming back to our list, in the number 8 spot today, we have Jennifer Lawrence. Did you know Jennifer Lawrence once made a grown man cry in a bar before? Well, apparently she did, and she even talked about the incident when she appeared on the popular chat show Late Night with Seth Meyers. When Jennifer was in the capital of Hungary for the shooting of Red Sparrow, when she ventured into the bar on a night with some friends, she would be drinking with her company when a fan approached the group and asked Jennifer to take a selfie with him. When the actress declined to take a photo with him, he apparently kept on insisting, to the point Jennifer and her friends had to ask him to leave them alone. Things quickly then took a sharp turn after the man got agitated and said "F you" to Lawrence, which then riled up the star, and she snapped, and she then grabbed her fan, threw a drink in his face, then poured it all over his suitcase, and after her friends stopped her from doing anything else so insane, she then noticed her fan was in tears. Number 7, Miley Cyrus. So Kendall Jenner has been a fan of Miley Cyrus for a while now, so it probably didn't sit so well with the model after Miley Cyrus recently called her out on her mean girl behavior. So at the height of Selena Gomez and Hailey Bieber's ongoing feud, after it was revealed that Kendall Jenner helped Hailey Bieber make fun of Selena Gomez in a video, news would shortly start to circulate online that Miley made Kendall cry at the Versace fashion show in Los Angeles. Apparently, like the rest of us, she didn't like the way Kendall and her buddy Hailey were being mean girls towards Selena, and she wanted to call them out on it. So no one really knows what Miley said or didn't say to the model, but not long after the rumor went viral, Selena then posted a selfie and tagged Miley and captioned the picture by saying "Violent Chemistry," which is a song from Miley's new album, and fans immediately started to suspect the post was connected to Kendall's and Miley's confrontation. Number 6, Tobey Maguire. Tobey Maguire isn't your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and yes, he did play Spider-Man, but that doesn't mean his nice on-screen persona can be found behind the scene, as apparently the star isn't as nice as he seems, especially when it comes to his fans. With there being several reports of the star displaying some pretty odd behavior when it comes to interacting with any of his fans, he once took things a little too far. When Tobey was walking back to his hotel in Paris, a fan walking right beside him held out a camera in front of the star to snap a picture of his face. Looking annoyed, Tobey then out of nowhere slapped his fan's hand, which caused him to drop his camera, and it shattered on the sidewalk. So as Tobey continued to walk away with his entourage, his fan would be left in tears. Number 5, Jamie Foxx. Stars witnessed witnessed Jamie Foxx get kicked out of a restaurant while he was assaulted at his table. Jamie was reportedly having dinner at the restaurant when a customer approached his table and complained to him that him and his friends were being too loud. When the group proceeded to not care, the person yelled, "You don't want to mess with me? I'm from New York." Jamie then fired back, "F you, I'm from Oakland." The person then began to charge at Fox, and some witnesses even said Fox began to fight back and took the person down. Both parties were eventually thrown out of the restaurant for their bad behavior. Number 4, we have Dennis Rodman. Charles Oakley had to once kick Dennis Rodman out of his steakhouse for eating off of other people's plates. Charles said he agreed to meet with Dennis at his steakhouse after the two made an appearance at a Miami event together. However, before he arrived, he got a phone call from his manager telling him to get to the location as fast as he could. When Charles arrived to the location, he looked through the window and saw Dennis eating, then moving to the next table and eating some more. Charles went straight up to Dennis and asked him what he was doing. Dennis responded by saying, "I'm relaxing and trying to entertain." Now, Charles clearly wasn't impressed with the star's action and proceeded to kick him out of the restaurant. He then told the basketball star to never come near him again, destroying their relationship off the court. What Dennis thought was a joke clearly wasn't, and he should have known better than to do that in a high-class restaurant. At number 3, we have Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage was once kicked out of a restaurant after being mistaken for being homeless. Now, the Oscar winner was at the Laurie Prime Rib restaurant located in Las Vegas. In a video later obtained by The Sun, you could see the star sitting on the restaurant sofa in a drunken state. Now, it's easy to see why the restaurant would have mistaken the star first as being homeless, considering he was wearing cheetah print PJ pants and he had no shoes on. While waiting for the table, he was acting rowdy and proceeded to get into an altercation with the staff. Even after being escorted out of the restaurant, Cage continued to argue with the staff while trying to go back in. While Nicholas did ignore to comment about the incident, he did say his work did help him avoid getting into situations like the one at the restaurant. Number 2, Jenna Fischer. Now, Jenna actually wasn't kicked out of a restaurant in real life. However, her character Pam in the comedy show The Office was. It all started when Jenna decided to tweet a photo of her pictured in front of the restaurant where she asked if she should try to go in. Pam in the show was so tipsy she continually began to fall out of her chair and displayed some pretty rude behavior. It got to the point that the restaurant owner stated she was no longer welcome back at the restaurant chain ever again. Number 1, James Corden. Recently, James Corden was banned from a famous New York City restaurant after being a jerk to wait staff. The owner of the restaurant, Keith McNally, posted to his Instagram to state the comedian was effectively banned from his famous bistro after he became one of the most abusive customers to enter location since it opened. So you're probably wondering what led James to be banned. Well, Keith detailed 2 examples of how the star misconducted himself at the restaurant, which led to his ban being indefinite. The first example is he was extremely nasty to servers, demanded drinks to come to his table and that they be comped altogether. The second incident took place when James' wife, Julia, received her egg yolk omelet only to find that there was some egg whites mixed in. The omelet was then remade and brought back to the table with fries instead of a salad. James then continued to yell at the staff that they didn't know how to do their jobs. Eventually, the situation was resolved when the floor manager decided to step in. James has yet responded to Keith's allegation. However, if one thing's clear, he definitely won't be eating at this location for a while.
First up, we have Saoirse Ronan and the awkward mistake. As a journalist, it's your job to get facts as correct as possible, but sometimes during certain circumstances, it's easy to get lost in the sauce. At the 2016 Oscars red carpet, an ABC News journalist was speaking to Saoirse when she had stopped to wave at someone, who happened to be writer Nick Hornby, who she had worked with for the film Brooklyn. She was nominated for Best Actress for her role in said film. The reporter confused the small interaction as something between family members and assumed Hornby was her father. When asked, Ronan obviously confirmed that he was the writer and not her father. It was a mild slip-up and not a big deal because, things like that happen. Honestly, this taught me to never assume and stick to my script or whatever to avoid any awkward run-ins like that. Next in line, we have Scarlett Johansson and Ryan Seacrest. Johansson was being interviewed at the 2017 Oscars red carpet when she was asked about her shoes. To clarify, Seacrest was asking if she had worn the heels she was wearing to the Oscars rehearsals that they have for the presenters. She responded with, "What a ridiculous question to ask," as it seemed to be so random for her. But Seacrest explained that he was asking because he had heard that fellow actress Halle Berry had done it. She accepted his response and continued to explain that she did not wear the heels, opting for comfortability. Up next is interviewer Jess Cagle calling Hidden Figures by the wrong name. It was around this time in 2017 when people were calling Hidden Figures Hidden Fences. The mistake started back at the Golden Globes when the movie Hidden Figures and Fences, very separate movies, were said in the same sentence, and that's how the mistake was made. The internet was already preparing themselves for reporters to make that same mistakes at the Oscars, and they were right. Editor-in-chief of People magazine, Jess Cagle messed it up when trying to compliment it as extraordinary alongside the film Moonlight, and was quick to correct himself, but it happened, and Twitter was there for it. Coming up is Tiffany Haddish's ultimate fangirl moment. So imagine you're at the Oscars and your idol is there. What do? Would you wait until they're within your closest vicinity, or do you seek them out? Tiffany Haddish was a woman on a mission as she wanted to greet Meryl Streep. In a video taken at the 90th Academy Awards, you can see Haddish waiting outside of the rope that was meant for the designated red carpet. With Streep just meters away, she probably contemplated her options before just going for it and climbing over the rope. I forgot to mention she was in a beautiful long gown as well, so to be able to witness that in real time must have been hilarious. Streep was seemingly preoccupied as Haddish steps in and literally blocks her path. The two make eye contact and they hug while exchanging words that are hard to make out. But nevertheless, Haddish got to have her chance with Streep and it was everything. I know some people would think this to be rude, which is why I included it, but hey, you do it too. Next on the list is Sacha Baron Cohen and his urn. Cohen arrived at the red carpet dressed head to toe in his costume for his character Admiral General Aladdin. He arrived with staff personnel, 2 women who were obviously paid actors, and a cremation urn. Aside from his outfit, he was also completely in character too. You know, that method acting really helping him out here. He was being interviewed by Ryan Seacrest, and Seacrest played into the bit as well. As he explained why he brought the urn, he inconspicuously lifted it and let it spill all over Seacrest. Clearly, it was a setup, probably some sort of marketing strategy from the movie's team.
Number 5, Paris Hilton. If you don't remember, I should probably remind you that Kim Kardashian once used to organize Paris Hilton's closet, and Paris wasn't always very nice about it. Back in the day, Paris also did an interview with 17 where she would confess that she was in the popular clique in her high school, and her and Nicole Richie were the leaders of the group. During the interview, Paris would be asked what kind of clique she was in back then till now, and Paris would quickly respond by saying the popular clique. And she would then go on to say, Nicole Richie and I were the leaders of the group. Now I still hang out with Nicole, my sister, Nikki, my cousins, and the people I've known for 10 years. I don't really trust many people, so I keep my friends very close. Paris would also go on to say that a lot of people didn't really go on to start rumors about her because they were all scared of her. Well, it seems like today most of the girls on this list have claimed that they have left their mean girl ways behind them and found a way to use their confidence in a way to support others. But we still see Paris go back to her mean girl days every time she wants to not leave her past in the past, especially when it comes to her ongoing feud with Lindsay Lohan. Number 4, Adele. Seeing how Adele is one of the most humblest women today alive, it makes it pretty hard to believe that she would be the type of person to pick a fight and drop a hat when she was younger. But it seems like behind her humble attitude, Adele is actually pretty feisty. It's honestly quite interesting to hear. When Adele was younger, it seems like she was so full of rage that she would gladly pick a fight with anyone over anything like a reality TV show, or if anyone said anything to her ears that sounded completely wrong. While bullies usually tend to not be that complicated, it seems that everyone has this trigger that people shouldn't seek to see or push. While fighting will never solve your problems, it seems like all it does is make consequences for your actions instead. With saying that, it seems like when you watch someone lose their cool article that explains how some people aren't coping with a lot of things well, and this is a way that shows us their lives are really unbalanced and they take it out on their peers to feel better about themselves. While Adele is clearly not a mean girl anymore like she used to be, she now uses her platform to squash hate and spread love. Number 3, Vanessa Hudgens. While we all grew up to love Vanessa Hudgens' sweet girl next door character on High School Musical, it's clear that she wasn't that sweet during her own high school years, and apparently she's still pretty mean to this day. While one might think that a star whose old boyfriend was getting catcalled and receiving so much attention from fans might get the idea, despite his popularity, that he's still into her, but Vanessa apparently was having none of it when her and Zac Efron were dating, and she would even go out of her way to bully fans that wanted anything to do with her boyfriend at the time. Later, Vanessa would even admit that she would openly give other girls the death glare if they even so much looked in his direction with interest. Now, the actor has also gone on to claim that she eventually came to the realization of futility in this action, and she even eventually saw her actions being quite ridiculous. But I think we can all agree, you were both actors and you were rude to fans for falling at your feet, which isn't quite right. Well, you think the star would have just left the mean girl attitude behind in school and supported her boyfriend and his fans. If she was really that insecure around a person that was getting way too much attention, she should have probably just sat back and rethought her life rather than bullying others. Number 2, Scarlett Johansson. Seems like Christy Carlson Romano enjoys spilling the tea about Hollywood lately on her YouTube channel. The grown-up Disney star has been dishing the dirt on her past, and while Christy has been diving into her high school days, she would open up about how she was actually bullied in school. It's clear that even if you go to a professional theatrical performer school, you still encounter the mean girl stories. Christy went on to say, "I got bullied by a lot of kids. Some of them were famous. In fact, one of my biggest bullies is a really huge star." Now, Christy wouldn't name her bully, however, that wouldn't stop her from dropping some hints so fans could figure out who her bully was. With most of the jokes labeling Christy as a geek that was lanky, that had big teeth, her bullies would even call her Bucky Beaver and AAA because she was pretty flat-chested. Even after the actress found success on Broadway, she still felt like her bullying continued, and it got worse under the reign of one particular mean girl that fans have speculated was Scarlett Johansson. With Scarlett attending the same school, she was almost the same age as Christy, and the fact that she seems to be a baddie and she seems to be like the only girl from Christy's school who is an A-list celebrity right now makes you think, do you think the person Christy was talking about was Scarlett? And let us know in the comments below. And coming at number 1 today, we have Lily Allen. World's famous musician, Lily Allen, was touring the globe, and she's almost completely sold out of majority of her shows thanks to her release on some of her top charting singles. Now, Lily is mostly known for proudly speaking her mind, however, this is a trait that she often finds herself getting into a lot of trouble for. Lily, over the last couple of years, has been greeted with huge amounts of controversy when she's opted to make fun of several famous celebrities, such as Katy Perry and Amy Winehouse. However, she later admitted to insulting them because of her own insecurities. She's always been this outspoken rebel, and this attitude has been getting her into trouble her whole life. During her childhood, she would find herself being expelled from several different high schools, and she's even admitted that she considers herself to be a mean girl. While she isn't really proud of the fact, she once said, "Men aren't the enemy, I think women are the enemy." However, she does want to change, as she's also said, we should stop being so horrible to each other. But then she goes on to be horrible to others, so it's actually just pretty condescending. Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Isaac Mizrahi. While Isaac Mizrahi was acting as an interviewer for E! On the red carpet for the Golden Globes, he would have a troubling interview with Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett, who was attending as a supporting actress nominee for Match Point, would be left feeling shocked after Isaac decided to touch her chest in the interview because he wanted to know if the actress had a bra under her stunning red dress. As he gave it a quick squeeze, he would then say, "I'm just taking notes for next time I make a..." Then he would be cut off by Scarlett, who said, "What is going on?" And then she said, "Absolutely, take all the notes you want." The actress then later said, "Oh my god." While Isaac did later apologize for offending anyone, the Academy of Motion Pictures of Arts then had to issue their own statement when they said, "I can predict we would be extraordinary angry. If that happened on our red carpet, I cannot predict what we would do afterwards." Number 9, Kesha. Remember that time when Jerry Seinfeld savagely refused to hug Kesha during a red carpet interview? Not once, not twice, but 3 painful times. It was truly the stuff of nightmares, but watching it from the comfort of our own homes made for some great laughs. Although Kesha was silent about the issue for some time, she would come out in 2017 to break the silence on what happened after she rudely interrupted Jerry in an interview to ask him for a hug. Jerry would then later sit down for an interview with AJ Calloway where he explained that he didn't hug Kesha because he simply didn't know her and admitted, "I'm 63. I don't know every pop star. I have to meet someone to say hello. Gotta start somewhere." For Kesha's part, she remained pretty quiet on the whole issue as she was presumably recovering from all the overwhelming embarrassment of being rejected so publicly like that. However, a day after the video went viral, she did post an Instagram photo of her cat with some pretty suggestive hashtags. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and, subscribe to the channel. Coming number 8, we have Tommy Lee Jones. When Joan and Melissa Rivers were asked who their least favorite person to interview on the red carpet was, they didn't have to think twice before responding, and they both ended up saying Tommy Lee Jones. In 2013, HuffPost Live asked the famous mother and daughter duo about their worst celebrity interview, and Melissa immediately said Tommy Lee Jones, to which Joan responded by saying, "Oh, without a question." HuffPost then went on to ask the pair to elaborate on the assertion, to which Melissa went on to know, "He's at the top of everybody's list. He doesn't want to be there, he's unhappy doing the red carpet, and he's going to make everyone else around him just as unhappy in the experience." Joan then would go on to sum up the issue nicely by saying, "Jones went to Harvard and is very impressed by that accomplishment." She then went on to say, "We all went to Ivy League schools, calm down." Number 7, John Travolta. In 2015, John Travolta once again became the talk of the Oscars after he had a pretty off encounter with Scarlett Johansson that had some of us scratching our heads. Scarlett, who co-starred with John in the film A Love Story for Bobby Long, told the Associated Press that the picture of him kissing her on the red carpet was taken out of context. She then went on to say there is nothing strange, creepy, or inappropriate about John Travolta. The image that is circulating is unfortunate, still framed from a live-action encounter that was a very sweet and total welcome. She then went on to add that the photo did not reflect the live moment and that we were all being misguided and misinformed, and that she hadn't seen John in some years and it was always a pleasure to be greeted by him, yet her face in the photo said otherwise. Number 6, Ryan Seacrest. In 2019, Grammy viewers would slam Ryan Seacrest for his awkward Lady Gaga red carpet interview. When Ryan tried to interview the superstar, he didn't so much ask her questions as he just chose to speak to her. And when Lady Gaga did try to speak, Ryan would just end up cutting her off without even giving her the chance to speak properly. He then went on to tell her that she should be performing at the Oscars, for which she is a multiple nominee for, and she responded by saying, "That was like, answer my question, but I'm not asking one." Ryan then tried to recover from the interview, but then made an awkward joke about him not asking her questions before saying they were cutting to break. Gaga was a good sport in handling the awkward interview, playing along with his joke that carried on for way too long as there was a delay in going to the advertisements. Before the interview was over, she did pull a host of awkward faces before eventually hugging Ryan and leaving.
On number 5, Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf has really been going through it in Hollywood. He kind of has a bad reputation now because of the conflicts that he's been in, the latest of which got him fired from a movie. Because of his bad attitude and clashes on set, the actor was fired by Olivia Wilde from the upcoming film Don't Worry Darling. It was announced in late fall of 2020 that Harry Styles would be replacing Shia in the film, and now we know that it was due to Shia's alleged bad behavior, as people have cited that the actor was, quote, not an easy guy to work with. It was alleged that there was some kind of conflict between him and Olivia Wilde as well, and the fact that other cast and crew members didn't like working with him, Shia was let go. Getting fired is always a negative thing, but in Hollywood, when a lot of your work involves other relationships with other actors and having connections, having a bad experience that was enough to get you fired can ultimately burn that bridge and result in you having less work. At number 4, Ben Stiller. A lot of people think of Ben Stiller as this super funny guy in Hollywood, but just because someone seems great in the public eye doesn't mean that's how they really are behind closed doors. It seems as though Ben Stiller is a nightmare in disguise because he's a tough guy to work with and he causes a lot of trouble on set. People who know or have worked with Ben in the past have exposed some of his bad behavior on set, and it's kind of shocking. According to those who worked with him on the set of the film Tropic Thunder, he was very controlling and mean to just about everyone there. He even reportedly had a meltdown on set when someone brought him his Diet Coke and it didn't have exactly 2 ice cubes in it. He even had someone fired because they didn't put enough sugar in his coffee. On top of that, Ben even forced his assistant to stand out in the parking lot in his designated parking space, even though it already had a sign saying that it was reserved. And to make matters even more hectic, Ben also freaked out on a female assistant he had, going so far as to refuse to come back to set until she was replaced by a male assistant. If all of this madness happened on just one film set, who knows what other shenanigans have gone on elsewhere with him. At number 3, Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase is known for being in National Lampoon and the show Community, but is also known around Hollywood as being kind of a jerk and starting drama with the people that he works with. There are a bunch of articles, books, and interviews of people talking about their experiences with the actor and how mean he can be. There are even stories in the book Live from New York that detail the times Chase has been mean to staff, writers, interns, and other hosts. Will Ferrell and Bill Murray are among those who have taken a disliking to Chase because of the way that he's treated others. Will Ferrell has said that he doesn't like Chevy because of the way that he treats some female staff members, and Bill Murray and Chevy Chase even got into a brawl backstage of SNL back in the day, where they said some pretty hurtful things to each other because they were kind of comedy rivals on the show. Chevy just doesn't get along with everyone, and he said it's because his fame went to his head, but something tells me that's not the only reason why he starts drama. At number 2, Bill Murray. Bill Murray already has a pretty bad reputation in Hollywood for his poor on-set behavior, so it's no surprise to me to find out that he's had some serious drama with one of his castmates on the set of Charlie's Angels. While filming the movie, Bill Murray was said to have antagonized actress Lucy Liu. When watching the film, you'd think that they were all good friends and on good terms, but in reality, that was quite the opposite. The film set was sort of a hostile environment that caused Bill to take a disliking towards Lucy. Turns out Bill would insult Lucy's talent and acting ability, and on one occasion even said, quote, "I get why you're here, you've got talent, but what in the hell are you doing here? You can't act." Apparently the harassment and bullying got so bad at one point that Lucy tried throwing punches at Bill during one scene because his insults got so bad. This antagonizing went on for the entire duration of the production, and Bill kept on berating Lucy about her presence on set and calling her unprofessional as well. This drama was just so unnecessary. And finally, at number 1, Sharon Osbourne. Talk show host Sharon Osbourne faced a lot of backlash last year after making comments about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Sharon and her former co-host Cheryl Underwood got into a pretty heated argument surrounding Piers Morgan's remarks on Meghan Markle. During this feud, Sharon backed up Pierce's comment about Meghan Markle's mental health, and this really frustrated a lot of people because many felt as though what was being said was going a little too far. As a result of the remarks that Sharon made, she was called a racist, and a number of other accusations came out about how she's used various slurs in the past when talking about her other co-hosts on the show. As a result of this, the network that they worked for launched an internal investigation to look into the allegations against Sharon, and that ended with Sharon being let go from the show. Before we wrap things up for today, I want you guys to leave a comment down below telling me which celebrity you would never want to work with and why. I want to know who you think would be the worst person to partner up with, so leave me your thoughts down in the comments.
At number 10, we have Ariana Grande. Ariana once got banned for life from a donut shop after the star was caught on camera licking a bunch of donuts she didn't pay for. In 2015, the star entered the Wolfie Donut shop with some friends. When the clerk went to the back room, Grande would proceed to lick some donuts that she didn't pay for. Later, the owner of the restaurant watched the video and would end up banning her from the location for life. They would also go to try press charges against her. However, nothing ever went through with the charges because the incident would have only cost $4 for the donut she didn't pay for. The owner, however, was very upset with Ariana and said not even an apology from Grande would have caused him to change his mind. Unfortunately for Grande, the incident would have caused her chance to be booked to play a gig at the White House, and she would later go on to make jokes about herself for the incident. Number 9. Britney Spears. After having a pretty public mental breakdown, Britney Spears made a spectacle of smearing food across her face in a restaurant. Britney was described as acting weird by fellow staff and celebrities present at the time of the incident. While sitting at her table, Britney started to play dress up with her dinner. While many were left feeling concerned and disturbed by the incident, the staff were quick to check on the star and escorted her from her table and out of the restaurant. Britney would then be later informed that she was no longer welcome in the restaurant or on the hotel grounds itself. Now, her behavior herself wasn't a sin or rude behavior, however, how she portrayed herself in public and how she never issued an apology for her actions definitely made some people raise some eyebrows. Luckily for Britney, after she cleaned herself up, the restaurant lifted its ban of 2 years, and she was later pictured celebrating her 28th birthday. Now, if you're enjoying this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Ruby Rose. Ruby Rose was once kicked out of a bar in New Orleans for allegedly throwing fries at the waitstaff. The star was described by the owner as being a child because she threw a big tantrum in the middle of the restaurant. After she threw the tantrum, the staff booted her from the establishment, where she then started to curse out the bartender and even began to throw food at the staff member. Ruby later would write a Facebook post where she didn't deny throwing the fries. However, she did explain why she did it. Ruby claimed that they waited 60 minutes for the fries and over 90 minutes for food that never showed up to the table. When they asked the bartender what was taking so long, he offered Ruby and her table some free drinks. When the star told the bartender no thanks, she said he started to mock her and her friends. At one point, the bartender even told her to go call her sponsor, and that's when the star reacted to throwing a french fry at the staff member. Ruby would later say she regretted how she acted and maybe she wouldn't throw french fries again. But maybe next time the bartender wouldn't be so insensitive. Number 7. Stuart Raw. Not only has Stuart been kicked out of Nobu, but he's also been banned from the popular Japanese restaurant. Back in 2012, the New York Post reported that the billionaire was banned for life as he tried to bribe people to give up their table for him. He then continued to call the manager Sharon, demeaning names, while he was escorted out of the restaurant. However, the drama wouldn't stop there. Stuart would then send an email to Nobu co-owner Drew demanding that the manager be fired and seat some big name celebrities such as Leonardo DiCaprio, Alicia Keys, and Mark Wahlberg. This also isn't the first time the billionaire hasn't played well with others, as the star has allegedly started fights with Tiger Woods and has even been thrown out of a celebrity Hamptons party after being labeled a stalker. If we learned anything from Stuart, it's that just because you have money, it doesn't give you the right for a free pass. Number 6. Jamie Kennedy. Jamie Kennedy once helped save a woman in a car crash after getting kicked out of a restaurant in Houston. After performing at the Houston Improv, the comedian decided to head over to the Yard House for some drinks with his friends. However, the management staff at the Yard House had to ask Jamie to leave and proceeded to escort the star out of the building for using profanity with the waitstaff. After leaving the establishment without a fight, Jamie decided he wasn't ready to go home for the night and proceeded to head to a different bar. Around 2:40 a.m., when the star was walking to the next location, a car flipped over up onto the sidewalk where they were walking just 10 feet in front of them. Jamie and his entourage then proceeded to help the two women out of the smoking car. Number 5. Kim Kardashian. Back in 2019, Kim Kardashian awkwardly interrupted her older sister during an interview on the E! People's Choice Awards red carpet when E! anchor Juliana Rancic asked Kourtney Kardashian who designed her bra-bearing glittering suit. She began to say she didn't plan her answer in advance, but then she was cut off when Kim decided to lunge in front of her and start to hype their new fragrance collaboration by saying, "All that matters is that we're wearing KKW Diamond. We're all wearing that." She then went on to tell Kourtney, "I was saving you since you didn't know who you were wearing. That was my save." Kourtney then went on to correct Kim by saying, "No, it was Naeem Khan. I just didn't know how to pronounce announce it. Despite the awkward moment, Kourtney didn't appear to mind the publicity, but Kim didn't need to interrupt her sister's interview to support her new line, as the world was already talking about it. Number 4, Jennifer Lawrence. So back in 2012, Josh Hutcherson was in an interview on the red carpet for the Catching Fire press tour when Jennifer Lawrence thought it would be a good idea to punk her co-star while he was in mid-interview by asking him how his rash was doing. Later, Josh would then open up about the incident on the Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, and there he would reveal that Jennifer had this history of punking him, and while making rounds on the red carpet, he then admitted at one time mid-interview she breezed past him and asked him, "Hey Josh, how's the rash doing?" Josh then looked extremely embarrassed before he went on to note that Jennifer was actually really crazy. The reporter then went on to question Josh about the incident, and he said, "Oh, my rash, yeah, my rash is doing fantastic. Don't worry about that. I love Jennifer." The actor was obviously really uncomfortable with Jennifer's uncalled move, that he wanted to end the interview and opted to say, "I gotta go back to take care of the rash," before running away from his interview. Number 3, Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is known for speaking her mind, so back in 2013, after she had a mouthful to say after a not-so-good interview with Access Hollywood's correspondent, Laura Saltman, the Anaconda rapper would then throw some serious shade at the reporter on the red carpet after Laura asked the rapper about her recent Twitter rant, which included catty words about fellow American Idol judge Mariah Carey, and she snapped back and refused to answer the question. When Laura asked, "Are you looking forward to the end of American Idol? Because I know there were Twitter comments you made today that caused quite a stir," Nicki would then respond by saying, "That question didn't even make sense, so if you want to insinuate what you're talking about, I'm not going to." Before Laura could even respond, Nicki would then roll her eyes, say goodnight, and walk away. In light of the diss, Saltman then decided to express her feelings in a blog posted to Access Hollywood's website, where she labeled Nicki as a mean girl and cyberbullying, perpetuating the problems of social media. Number 2, Amber Heard. Back in 2015, Amber would be captured giving her mom a stern lesson on the red carpet about the rules she has to follow as her mom joined her at a glitzy film premiere. At the time, Amber was still married to Johnny Depp, and she decided to bring her mother along for the ride at a screening of Johnny's new flick at the time, Black Mass, at Toronto's International Film Festival. Her proud mom then watched from the sidelines as Amber oozed in this striking black dress in front of the camera. However, the actress was less than impressed when she spotted her mom talking to a nearby cameraman. In a video captured, the star's mom could be seen in the video identifying herself to a man from Kiss 92.5, where she proudly gushed, saying she was Amber's mom. Amber then stormed towards her mother and interrupted the interview. And in the video, you could see Amber's face. It was so stony that she may as well have been embarrassed by her mom in front of friends at a playground. She then quickly grabbed her mother, gave her a warning by saying never make eye contact. And coming in at number 1 today, we have Nicole Kidman. Nicole Kidman wasn't necessarily rude, but she did get a pretty funny response from Tom Hiddleston when she briefly interrupted him during an interview at the Golden Globes one year. Tom was in the middle of his interview talking to Liza Koshy about one of his shows, and Nicole decided to insert herself in between Tom and Liza and then quickly said, "That's enough talking." While Nicole was clearly just pulling Tom's leg, at first he was a bit taken back by Nicole's actions, and it did take him a bit to notice that Nicole was doing a quirky little bit. Once the actor realized Nicole was only joking, he then quickly joined in on the fun. He then conducted a quick impromptu moment in the interview with Nicole, and it was definitely a moment that was awkward for a second, but then everybody laughed it off. Coming in number 10, we have Mariah Carey. Now, it's been said that even though Mariah Carey may not have been a super mean girl, she was definitely one of those popular girls that got on everyone's nerves. While Mariah had little to no respect for the school system at all, I'm pretty sure none of us were really shocked when the diva let us all know that she was actually a mean girl in high school. While in high school, Mariah would explain that she was given the nickname of Mirage because she barely appeared in class, as she described herself as being more of a socialized person in school rather than an actual student. Later on in an interview, TMZ would even ask the Obsessed With Me singer if she would be attending her high school reunion when the time came around, and you could tell Mariah definitely wasn't impressed impressed with the question and that she clearly had some major hate towards her former high school because she would reply by saying, "Why would I go to anything I didn't create myself?" Mariah's comment actually ended up being the perfect diva response, and honestly I'm gonna use it when my high school reunion comes around because I definitely don't want to see anyone from there ever again. Coming in at number 9, Cameron Diaz. So today Cameron Diaz may seem like a ray of sunshine now who's all holistic and healthy living, but back in high school she was described as being pretty feisty when it came to interacting with her classmates. Now the star has admitted that she had it pretty rough and she had to become a fighter just to get by. Cameron would say, anytime you heard the locker slam and you turned and there was a girl taking off her earrings, she was pulling her hair back in a ponytail and she was taking all of her friends' rings and coming at you like this. I used to get in fights with boys more than girls. For some reason, boys like to fight me, but one time in junior high I had this girl come up to me in the locker room from behind and she pulled my hair back. I had to shut her down. It's not hard to believe that Cameron was so feisty, as I mean, the girl once quoted her father by saying, "My dad always used to tell me, if they challenge you to an after-school fight, tell them you won't wait, you can kick their butts right now." Just taking one look at Cameron, I don't know why anyone would be brave enough to challenge her, as she looks like the type of person that would need like 8 people to tear her away from you before she did some critical damage. But if you have the guts to do it, it makes me wonder what the people in her school look like. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming at number 8, we have Tina Fey. Step away, Regina George, there's another mean girl in town. Mean Girls creator Tina Fey once shared her grand revelation, as she would reveal that when she was in high school, she was actually the mean girl, which isn't really shocking as she is the reason behind the iconic film Mean Girls. While Tina has admitted to it openly, she has also said that it was a disease that had to be conquered. It's a bad coping mechanism, but when you feel less than in high school, everyone feels less than everyone for different reasons. In your mind, it's a way of leveling the playing field though. Of course, it's not. Now, the mother of 2 is cautious to those who may mimic her behavior today by saying, something terrible about someone else does not actually level the playing field. If I met a girl of 14 or 15 today, who is that kind of girl, I'm secretly in my body afraid even though I'm 45. While Tina has admitted that when she turned 13 she realized that she wasn't going to glide by on her looks alone because she was a normal looking person, she had the desire to be funny. While being 13, when she was trying to be funny around the boys, she thought if she mocked them they would like her, but it only backfired on her because they all just ended up being scared of her. Number 7, Angelina Jolie. It's no lie when I say Angelina Jolie is one of the most beautiful women alive, and she would have definitely been considered one of those hot girls in high school everyone wanted to be, but she chose a road less traveled. While it's been said Angelina was definitely a mean girl, she did it in her own way by choosing to rebel against those in the popular crowds. While Angelina attended Moreno High School in Beverly Hills, she would state it was where all the bad kids would go, and she chose it. While she attended the school she would consider herself to be a punk outsider nobody wanted to mess with. Angelina would then also state when she was in school she was considered to be fearless. She would then end up working so hard so she could graduate and move out by the time she turned 16 years old. And while I can only imagine what it was like being a punk outsider moving through the popular crowds that were against her, it's kinda really hard to say Angelina was really a mean girl because in any photos we've seen of her in high school, she just looks like one of those awkward schoolgirls rather than a punk rebel child. Number 6, Gabrielle Union. Back in 2013, Gabrielle Union would gather with the rest of the Black elite community for the annual Essence Black Woman in Hollywood luncheon. Among those honored, Gabriella Union would receive the Fierce and Fearless Award. While the star looked stunning in her green vintage Versace dress, the actress, during her acceptance speech, would confess that she used to be a mean girl, not necessarily in high school but early on in life. While she claims she now supports other women, her speech was pretty powerful when Gabriella took to the stand to say, "We live in a town that rewards pretending. I had to pretend to be fierce and fearless for a long time. I was a victim masquerading as a survivor. I stayed when I should have run. I was quiet when I should have spoken up. I turned a blind eye to injustice instead of having the courage to stand up for what's right. I used to shrink in the presence of other dope, beautiful women. I used to revel in the gossip and rumors. I lived for negativity inflicted upon my sister actresses and anyone who I felt who shined diminished my own. While the actress has also went on to challenge onlookers to live courageously by admitting and correcting mistakes, I definitely still wouldn't want to shine my light brighter than hers.
Up next again is Tiffany Haddish and her interview. She looked stunning in her custom-made green gown when a reporter asked if she had done a costume change. Perhaps slightly put off by the term costume, Haddish goes off to explain that it was not a costume but a luxury Dolce & Gabbana gown. The reality of the awkwardness sets in as the reporter tries to stealthily move on, but Haddish wants to reaffirm herself. She continues saying, "It's called an evening gown, darling." Watching the clip, you can tell the reporter regrets everything as she continues to play cool and admits defeat, but the damage was done and Haddish was not. She explained that the dress was paid by herself and that was what success looked like. Coming up is Zuri Hall blanking out at the red carpet. Like I said, the hustle and bustle of these types of events are the partial reasons why reporters tend to mess things up. And it's fine, we're all human here, which is why I think E! News reporter Zuri Hall can back me up on that statement. She arrived at the 2017 Oscars red carpet in a beautiful sheer and feathery dress. Perhaps it was so beautiful she ended up forgetting who actually designed it. Is it disrespectful to forget the name of the designer? I think it's an honest mistake, but that doesn't take away the minor embarrassment she probably felt while that was televised across national television. Up next we have Ashley Graham's interview with Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. Momoa and his wife showed up to the 2019 Oscar Awards when it happened. When they were interviewed by model Ashley Graham, she requested that he give her a haka move. Haka refers to the many ceremonial dances from the Maori people. Momoa is immediately hesitant and it doesn't go unnoticed by Graham as she eggs him on to do it. Bonet is clearly unimpressed, offering some type of explanation that you can't hear what she's saying, but her husband cuts it off and gives Graham what she wants. The internet was not happy with this exchange. One user called her corny while many others said that she was disrespecting his culture as he is from Hawaii and not New Zealand, where the Maori culture originates. At least he's familiar with some of the customs though, as he explained in a completely separate interview unrelated to the Oscars that his family's roots go back and forth from Hawaii and New Zealand at some point. Regardless, Graham pushing him to do that wasn't a good look for her. Coming up are the South Park creators and their red carpet looks. Creators of the hit cartoon comedy, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, confessed to everything that went down that evening in the year 2000. To put it shortly, they did not take anything seriously, despite Parker being nominated for an award. The original plan was to dress up in duck costumes, but out of fear they would be denied entry, they went for dresses to blend in with everyone else. So that's what they did. They dressed up in their dresses that were nods off to outfits Jennifer Lopez and Gwyneth Paltrow had worn previously, and to top it all off, were also extremely under the influence. They explained even stepping out of the vehicle was an experience due to their incapacitated state. They managed to get through the carpet and the interviews. They were smart and had it all planned out, vowing that they don't acknowledge the dresses, and if they were asked to divert and avoid it at all costs. Next up is Dakota Johnson, low-key snapping at her mom. During the 2015 Academy Awards, Johnson brings her mother, fellow actress Melanie Griffith, as her date. Knowing Johnson and her collected bluntness, what happened shouldn't come off as surprising. While they were being interviewed together, Griffith was asked if she had watched her daughter's movie. She declined, saying it would be strange. The movie in question? 50 Shades of Grey, and we're all aware of the nature of that film. So to not want to see it for those reasons as a mother, it's totally understandable. Johnson cuts in and said it would be fine and she'll watch it one day. After all, it's just a movie since everything is fictional. When the reporter accepts this answer and reaffirms how well her daughter did in the film, Griffith continues and says, "Well, she's a really good actress, I don't need to see it to know how good she is," which sparked mild irritation from Johnson, who gets a little snappy and says she doesn't need to watch it. It's kind of awkward for the reporter as she comes in to soothe the awkward family interaction. While it might have been awkward to watch it unfold, mother-daughter bickering is more common than you'd think.
At number 10, Kanye West. Most people see Kanye West as a little too extra. He's caused scandals like his VMA interruption with Taylor Swift, his comments about George W. Bush, as well as many other instances that have just rubbed people the wrong way. To add to that, he's reportedly very hard to work with. During filming of Anchorman 2, Kanye came on set for a brief appearance in the film, and though he played a small part, he left a big impression on the cast and crew, and it wasn't positive. Apparently, after Kanye wrapped on set, he refused to leave. He could have just gone home after he finished his scenes, but he decided to stick around. That's fine if you want to stay and watch other people's performances, but that's not exactly what Kanye did. Instead, he hung around set blasting music so loudly that it disrupted filming. People tried to get him to just leave, but he wouldn't. I think it's safe to say that if a third Anchorman movie were to happen, Kanye just would not be welcomed back. At number 9, Lea Michele. Lea Michele was exposed in 2020 for her Hollywood mean streak and for her terrible on-set behavior. This all came out following a tweet from former Glee co-star Samantha where she let the world know how horrible it was to work with Lea. The actress is now described as, quote, callous, rude, mean, and even a diva. But following Samantha's exposure of the Broadway star, other people have come forward with their own testimonies regarding Lea and her mean streak. There have been stories of Lea's microaggressions, but also stories of her spitting in craft service food that she doesn't like, refusing to work with people because they didn't know her middle name, requesting reshoots because she didn't like her costume, disrespecting other castmates, and having crew members apologize on her behalf, and so many other frustrating tidbits that just really show how rude and entitled she's been known to be. No one wants to work with her after learning about how much of a nightmare she can be on set. Before we carry on talking about the celebrities who are just the worst people to work with on set, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 8, Julia Roberts. Even though Julia Roberts seems like a nice person, it turns out that she's a nightmare on set. Ironically, she's almost always cast as nice and endearing characters, but there's seemingly much more to Julia than meets the eye. Apparently, she's known to have a pretty bad attitude on set, which can make working with her an unpleasant experience. In 1991, on the set of the Peter Pan film Hook by Steven Spielberg, Julia earned the on-set nickname Tinkerhell as a play on her character Tinkerbell. She earned this moniker based on the production staff's perception of the actress. Apparently, during filming, she would constantly show up to set late, and even when she was on set, she would lock herself in her trailer for hours on end. She also reportedly treated people badly, and she would never apologize for her mean actions or behavior. Julia was truly the opposite of the pixie she was playing. At number 7, Mike Myers. Does anyone else remember the Cat in the Hat live action film from 2003 starring Mike Myers? I certainly do. It was very cringy, but in a good way, since I was a kid back then and I found everything unbelievably hilarious. I enjoyed that movie as a kid, but one person who didn't enjoy it was the Cat in the Hat himself, Mike Myers. After the success of Austin Powers, Mike was set to bump up his comedy and star in a production based on one of his old characters. But before that was all carried out, the actor and the studio got into some debates, and there was legal trouble. It was all just unnecessary drama. Well, they both ended up reaching an agreement, and it obligated Mike to star in the Cat in the Hat movie. He never wanted to sign up for that, and he really made it known how badly he didn't want to be there. According to people who worked with him on set, during filming of the Cat in the Hat, Mike was very rude and dismissive, and he refused to talk to anyone. He became a hermit and a diva apparently, and this whole experience and subsequent film were all so bad that Dr. Seuss's widow said that she would never allow Hollywood to make another movie based on one of Seuss's books again. At number 6, Emma Roberts. Emma Roberts has had quite a few on-set feuds with co-stars. She's had drama with Gabri Sidibe, Ariana Grande, and Evan Peters, but the biggest feud that she's had was with Lea Michele on the set of Scream Queens. According to sources, Emma Roberts and Lea Michele had one strong attribute in common, and that was the fact that they were both divas, so while they were working together, they butt heads with each other quite often. Apparently, their fighting got so bad while filming, actress Jamie Lee Curtis had to step in and mediate the hostile situation between Emma and Lea because she was so fed up with their constant bickering while they were trying to work. It was also reported that the actresses would constantly have mean girl moments, making rude and catty comments towards each other almost daily. Rumors of this feuding between them were pretty common in entertainment news while Scream Queens was still in production, showing that things never really died down between the two actresses. It seemed like Emma just caused a heck of a lot of drama with a lot of people on set.
Number 5. David Lee Roth. In 2019, David Lee Roth had a pretty bizarre red carpet interview that taught us all that you can either wear all sorts of outlandish things or nothing, and you can also be as provocative as you want in the name of artistry, and flaunt your questionable decisions all over social media. The king of being completely insane during the red carpet interview will always go to David Lee Roth. David, who was set to perform at the Billboard Music Awards, was being interviewed by E! on the red carpet special. During the interview, he would start out on solid footing, discussing Van Halen's dance influence and how what they did in the 80s has informed today's pop music, which was okay. But things took a quick turn when he decided to quickly go off the rails, and somehow West Side Story, Lowriders, and David's abundance of black and Hispanic friends all came up. The whole interview was just him inspiring to get on Miley's level of interviews, and it was just completely weird. Go give it a watch. Number 4. Tiffany Haddish. When Entertainment Tonight's Lauren Zima seemed to have accidentally called Tiffany Haddish's new Oscar after party dress a costume change, things quickly went south, and when Tiffany fired back at Lauren saying, "I'm not wearing a costume, I'm wearing Dolce & Gabbana," the actress was clearly not done firing back at the reporter when she then went on to educate her on costumes and outfits by saying, "It's called an evening gown, darling. No one is paying for this. I paid for it. It's custom. Thank you." That's when the reporter jokingly announced it was her time to pass away, pretended to faint in an attempt to ease the tension, and Tiffany's response, may I add, was, "This is what fame looks like, this is what success looks like, this is what money looks like," and yeah, the moment is just as brutal to watch as you would expect. And take notes, because if it's not Halloween, it's not a costume, and you definitely don't want to make the same mistake unless you want to be embarrassed on the red carpet by some of Hollywood's biggest stars. Coming number 3, we have Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow once left Emma Chamberlain in a pretty awkward red carpet interview. That became one of the most hilarious and viral moments of 2022 when Emma, who is a big YouTuber, was interviewing Jack Harlow for Vogue. What started off as a pretty interesting interview would then randomly turn a different way when Jack decided out of nowhere that he was going to hit her with a totally random "love you," and then he quickly turned away and left the interview. Now you're probably wondering what happened next. Well, as the rapper walked away, the camera would zoom in on Emma, and it would give us a glorious image of her staring into space and questioning her entire reality, which was honestly a 10 out of 10 reaction, but considering their age difference, the gesture was just completely weird. Number 2, we have Sutton Strachey. Okay, we all know that there's no one more dramatic than the Real Housewives cast, as they always seem to do shady things at the most random times, like the time Sutton Strachey showed up to the People's Choice Awards in 2022, and just like the shows, she brought some drama. When the interviewer asked her if she would like Lisa to return to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, the reality TV personality definitely didn't have anything nice to say. She then chose to look at the reporter and the camera in total silence, and she stayed like this until the reporter moved on to the next question. It was a question she actually wanted to respond to. The reporter then went on to the next question by saying anyways. But just before, if you caught a look at Sutton, you would see that she was baffled, and she looked pretty mean and scary to the point it would have caused any reporter to end the interview and move on to the next star. It's safe to say that Sutton doesn't really like Lisa and doesn't want her to return to the show anytime soon. And coming at number 1 today, we have Sacha Baron Cohen. When he showed up to the red carpet dressed as his character from The Dictator, the look was completely pushing boundaries as he proceeded on the red carpet accompanied by female bodyguards and an urn which he stated was filled with Kim Jong-un's ashes. While the whole interview and actions were very off-putting and not really professional, things took a quick turn to the worse when he decided to accidentally dump the material all over Ryan Seacrest's Burberry tux. While everyone was shocked at what actually happened, Ryan Seacrest actually showed the world what a true professional he is, and he brushed it off. And he brushed it off quite literally, may I add. But still, the interview was pretty disturbing, and Sasha shouldn't be playing sensitive games like that. Starting off our list today at number 10, we have Liam Hemsworth. Thanks to Miley Cyrus's new hit song Flowers, it's been number 1 on the Billboard for 3 weeks, and because the song is so popular, it resurfaced a couple of clips that shows Liam Hemsworth visibly cringing at his ex-wife Miley Cyrus on the red carpet during interviews. In one video, Miley could be seen twerking on Liam at a Vanity Fair Oscars after party in February of 2019. As the two were being interviewed, Liam then backed away quickly and looked incredibly uncomfortable as she danced for the cameras, to which he responded by saying, "Don't do it, don't do it, you're scarring everyone on the red carpet." Miley then immediately stopped and glanced awkwardly at the camera. In another clip uploaded, the couple could be seen attending the Avengers Endgame premiere, and the singer tried to pose cheekily with her husband, and she made this move to lick his neck, and Liam was displeased and told Miley to behave for once. And when he went on to cling onto her waist, she seemed to be very annoyed at his gesture and pushed his hand away, which resulted in him walking away while she continued posing on her own. Number 9, Dakota Johnson. What was supposed to be a sweet mother and daughter moment during the Oscars red carpet show ended up becoming one of the night's most awkward interviews, when ABC host Laura Spencer asked the actress Melanie Griffith if she was going to see her daughter's racy movie 50 Shades of Grey. The actress would then quickly respond no before her daughter Dakota Johnson scowled and said, "Maybe one day." However, then her mom would respond by saying, "I don't think I can. I think it would be strange. Well, she's a good actress. I don't need to see that to know she's good." The subject was obviously still a sore subject and the sticking point between the pair, as Dakota then jumped into a pouting teenager for a moment before snapping at her mother by saying, "Alright, you don't have to see it, Jesus Christ." The uncomfortable exchange between the two then set social media on fire, inspiring some harsh criticism and some pretty serious tweets. However, near the end of the night, Melanie would opt to tell Dakota that she would watch the film just so she could smooth things over between her and her daughter. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Coming in number 8, we have Shailene Woodley. So during most interviews, Shailene Woodley is always known for being really blunt when it comes to her answering questions, especially when the questions make her feel uncomfortable. During one incident on the red carpet, Shailene had a pretty awkward encounter that caused her to be dumbfounded when it came to the reporter's question. In the interview, the reporter looked at the actor and then out of nowhere asked her if she was hungry before noting that she herself was hungry. Shailene then reacted in a way that was pretty awkward and rude in the moment, as she looked at her interviewer like she was crazy and said, "Well, you should probably eat." I don't think any of us really blame Shailene in this situation for being rude, as it was such a weird question and comment to come from a reporter. Not to mention, there were so many questions that the reporter could have asked her, but she chose to ask the actor if she was hungry, because you aren't going to get a genuinely nice answer to that question. Number 7, Selena Gomez. During a red carpet interview in 2017 Billboard Woman in Music event, Selena would be asked about how Justin Bieber impacted the person she is today, and the singer and actor responded by being a little standoffish when she said, "I don't think anyone else cares. I think for me, what's been great is that I've been able to live the life I wanted for myself, and it doesn't always look the way people think it should. But it's not really my concern anymore. Look, my family is great, my health is great, I love deeply, and that's just who I am. I'm not really ashamed." While the actress claimed that no one really cared about her and Justin's relationship, the Twitter reactions would definitely prove otherwise to Selena's response, as one fan would say, "Selena Gomez and Justin Bieber will definitely last this time if they're both on the same page romantically." And then another fan would note, "So as dumb as this sounds, I'm so happy when I heard Justin Bieber and Selena Gomez are back together. It's that relationship I basically grew up with and I feel as if I'm invested in. My heart was so full when I heard the news. Even today, people are still fond on the idea that the former couple may cross paths yet again in the future, and it's gotten to the point that every time Justin is happy with another woman, his fans still chant Selena's name." Number 6, Jim Carrey. Back in 2017, Jim Carrey was clearly just really bored, so the comedian decided he would randomly show up to a New York red carpet event. While on the red carpet, he made his way to a reporter, and then he ended up telling her that the only reason he he showed up to the event is because he was trying to find the most meaningless event he could attend. If the interview wouldn't get any more funnier due to his odd behavior, he then went on this really weird rant where he stated that icons and personalities don't really exist by saying, "I don't believe in icons, I don't believe in personalities. I believe that peace lies beyond personality and invitation in disguise, beyond the red S on your chest that makes bullets bounce off. I believe that it's deeper than that. I believe we're a field of energy dancing for itself and I don't care." He then turned into one of his comedic characters before walking away when he came to the conclusion to his rant and said, "We don't matter." Number 5. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj seriously caused some major chaos in 2022 when she had to cancel her meet and greet in London on the spot. When the rapper was arranging to meet her fans at a venue in Camden in midday, the event quickly spiraled out of control after thousands of fans showed up. When Nicki eventually appeared hours later than what was originally scheduled, she was mobbed by the crowd and even had to be escorted back to her SUV before speeding away. In a since deleted TikTok video from the chaotic scene, it would show Nicki pushing a fan while she was attempting to make her way through the crowd to the venue on foot. Despite fans ignoring Nicki's pleas to form an orderly fashion line outside of the venue, Nicki would make the decision to cancel her meet and greet, and then the police would issue a statement saying it was shut down by the event managers due to safety concerns. And as Nicki drove off, fans started to cry and chase her car down the street. Number 4. Britney Spears. Back in November 2022, Alexa Nicholas would recall a time Jamie Lynn Spears had her older sister Britney Spears yell at the actor on set to the point she became a crying mess as she recalled all the trauma she had to deal with while working on the Nickelodeon set. During the podcast, Alexa recounted that a talent coordinator told her mom he was taking her to get her hair and makeup done, but instead he brought the preteen to talk with Britney. At first, Alexa was excited because she was a huge fan. She thought Britney was just going to help her and Jamie Lynn work through their problems. But after going into Jamie Lynn's trailer, Britney started yelling at her as Jamie Lynn hid in the back room. While Britney has come out to apologize to the star, Alexa would acknowledge how she was a crying mess and that the show's creator even had to give her a DVD player in order to get her to stop crying so she could finish filming. Was Jamie's bullying only getting worse as the set carried on? No one really cared for Alexa since it was called Zoe 101 and not Nicole 101, but I think we can all agree Nicole 101 would have been a great show. Number 3. Lea Michele. When Haley Steinfeld was 14 years old, she was auditioning for True Grit on the Paramount lot. And while she was getting ready to leave, she ran into Lea Michele, who was filming Glee. When Haley walked up to the actress and asked her for an autograph, things quickly took a sharp turn after Lea ignored her and continued to walk by the young actress. A guy then came out of nowhere and told Haley it just wasn't a good time. So as Haley walked back to her car wearing an uncomfortable outfit from the 1800s, she would go on to cry the whole way home. Because she was really upset at the person who's been a main inspiration for her own acting work was so rude to her. At the end of the day, I think we can all agree Lea should have at least greeted Haley and told her it wasn't a good time herself instead of storming off. Number 2. Jennifer Lopez. Back in 2014, Jennifer Lopez would be left cringing after one of her superfans dissolved into tears after being rejected on American Idol. With no content with attempting to win Idol, bubbly Ronald Reed was out on a mission to end poverty by trying to make the world a better place. However, when Ronald caught sight of Lopez, he then sat down to share a tuneless ballad, which sent the judges, including Jennifer, squirming in their seats. To the point Jennifer even told him that his voice wasn't strong enough. Keith Urban then had to take over and tell Ronald that he was really sweet, as Reed searched desperately for his mojo after being belittled by Jennifer, as she made fun of his lack of melody. Reed would then be sent home, while 33 other hopefuls made it through to the next round. And coming in at number 1 on our list today, we have Demi Lovato. Back in 2016, Demi Lovato would come to learn about how she crushed one of her younger fans after she canceled her concert. With Isabella Miklos being 10 at the time, she was looking forward to seeing Demi Lovato perform with Nick Jonas in Virginia Beach. After her family pulled their money together to buy her the tickets for Christmas as a reward for her excellent grades at school, when she found out the concert was canceled due to a scheduling conflict, Isabella would be left feeling utterly devastated. In frustration over her child's unhappiness, Isabella's mother then took to her Facebook to share the images of her daughter looking excited on Christmas Eve when she was given the tickets, to crying in the car after learning it was canceled. With Demi canceling her concert just for the opportunity to be on TV, it upset a lot of fans, which is strange since the pop star has always been the one of those few artists which uses her platform to preach about about empowerment, and she has so much pride in her work that she's always considered her fans to be her top priority. But then when she canceled her concert to be on TV and said it was a scheduling conflict, it was really just a sad excuse.